Hi everyone. Today I have a Mul-t-lock Interactive Plus that we're going to be talking about, and then I will be picking later in the video. So like all other Mul-t-locks, or most of the ones I'm familiar with, this is a dimple lock. So it's got a very distinctive key. It's got the markings right there, which are where the pins fit. The depth of those markings indicates how high it lifts the pin. You can see that they're kind of like, this one's two concentric circles. That's because the pins here are pin in pin. There are inner and outer sections to each one. So while there's only 5 positions, there's actually 10 pins that have to be lifted correctly for this lock to open. This little weird part right here, this is the interactive section of the key, which I'll talk about in a second. So before I get to that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the pins in this. So here is one of the driver pins. This particular one has spooled driver pins. You can see the outer section is spooled, and then up close there you can see the inner section is also got some spooling on the bottom. In this particular lock, that interacts with the key pins, which the outer key pins in some positions have milling that will catch on that spooling right there, like that, and give a little bit of picking resistance, or make it so that you have to do some counter rotation in order to get that out. So if you're familiar with the pin and pin lock, these are hollow, and these are the inner key pins. They fit right in there, and when they're in all the way, they hang down. And so the key has to lift both sections correctly to the appropriate heights to lift the outer and inner parts of the drivers above the shear line, so that you can open the lock. This particular version, there's 2 kind of torpedo key pins right here. So those have some sections on the top where if you overlift them, you can see there's a little rim or lip there. It will get caught in the plug and make it so that you can't open the lock. You have to get those out of the milling. So the interactive part, which is kind of interesting. So on the key, again, you can see that there's this section here. It kind of hangs down. If you push up on that, you can see it pushes a piece of the key up above the flat section. So the way that this works is this little floating piece sits on top of, in the plug, right there in the second position, sits right on top of that. And that is got a pin that hangs down underneath the plug. And I'm just gonna push up on it real quick. And you can see right there, it lifts that up. That will lift the section in the key up, and that will lift the driver pin up higher than a max lift would be possible on the key. When you are not using the lock, that pin inside the plug actually sits inside a little divot. You can see it right there. That's actually not the correct one. There's one back behind it, but you can see it right there. Actually, maybe that is the right one. Yeah, that's in the second position, so that's actually it. So it's right there. There's a little divot it sits in. So then when you turn the key, that divot's only right here. It's not ground all the way around. So it pushes up that pin in the plug, which again pushes up this little thing right here in the key, which pushes up the pin. So you can get a more than max lift out of that position, that second position in this lock. So kind of an interesting little thing that's got going on there. I don't think that that is picking resistance. I think that that is key control. You have to have an interactive key in order to do that, because otherwise, if you don't lift this little section up, this key pin does not sit flush with the top of the plug, so it won't lift the interactive driver up high enough to open the lock. So I think that it's so you can't use an old Mul-t-lock key with just a max lift there, for example. So kind of neat, but doesn't really add much in terms of picking difficulty. It's just an extra high lift. You just have to remember that you lift it as high as you can go, and then you probably have to lift it a little bit higher. I think that is everything I wanted to cover about this particular lock in terms of the pieces and its construction. So in the next section, I will have it up in a vise, and we will do a pick and gut. Okay, I've got my Mul-t-lock Interactive in the vise, and we're going to go ahead and get this picked and gutted. So I am using a multi-pick Z-bar. I'm going to tension this counterclockwise, and I've got a couple multi-pick flags here, a 5, a 7, and a 10. I'm using the 5 right now. I may or may not use the other ones. And first thing I gotta do, I'm picking from the right hand side, is I've got to set all of my outer pins first. Pin 4 gives me a lot of difficulty on this, especially because I feel like it is very prone to me undersetting. I think I may have gotten it. All right. Okay, I think that's all the outers. Yeah, it feels pretty good. Okay, I just need to set the inners now. Okay, I just tapped the Interactive real quick. Definitely deep false set. So now I just need to set the inner pins here. This is going to be where I'm going to use a shorter flag so I can make sure I'm not still pushing the outers up here. I think I need to get the inner unpin one here. There we go. All right, not too bad. 4 minutes to get an open there. Let's go ahead and get this. Relock it. cam off the back. Follower. I'm going to take out the key pins first. And I'll separate the inners and the outers as I'm going here. Plug there. And now let's get the drivers. Quick close up of the pins here. I'll just show you, there's the spooled outer, and right there you can see the spooling on the inner. And then on this one, you can see that ridge right there. That's the milling inside the outer key pin as well. There's a closer view of the interactive element. So you can see how it lifts to interact with the key. And I think that's it as far as internals go. So there's the pick and gut section of the video. Thanks for watching.